I feel like I taught him something beneficial. I know I'll be teaching him things his whole life, but this is the first thing that's like so clear. I taught you this skill and you can use this for your whole life. It is very cool. Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Today's video is going to be all about sleep training our baby. He is 11 months old. He hasn't always had sleeping issues. He has been waking up maybe 2 or 3 times a night consistently for about his whole life. But just recently he started having trouble napping and having trouble going back to sleep once he wakes up. And I know that it is time for us to teach him those self-soothing techniques. And I am really excited to try to sleep train him and see what kind of results we can get. He sleeps in a crib in our room still. And we are actually getting ready to move into an even smaller place. If you watched our last video, then you know we are moving and we are moving into a smaller place. We wanted to try to sleep train him now before we move because we want him to have those techniques or learn those techniques in a place where he's already comfortable. So hopefully we can use this last week before we move to teach him those skills, and I really hope the move doesn't screw that up for him. Tonight is the first night that we are trying this. The last 2 nights we actually attempted to do it, but we didn't have enough information and I wasn't doing the right things. So we are going to use the Ferber method. I don't know if you can hear the pounding, that's him in the bathtub. We are going to use the Ferber method. Almost anyone that I've heard talk about it has had success with it, and that speaks volumes. And not just short-term success, they've had long-term success with it, and it teaches their children the skills they need to be good sleepers, to sleep through the night, to be able to put themselves back to sleep, and just to be able to self-soothe. And I think that's really important. After his bath, we are going to continue his bedtime routine, which is just bath, jammies, a bottle, which he is breastfed, but we nurse throughout the day, and then he gets a bottle before he goes to bed. That's just what we do. We do a combination, and that's what works for him. So after his bottle, we are going to do a book, and then we will start this Ferber method. I will say the last 2 nights that we tried did not go well. I had a really hard time with it. Joel and I didn't talk enough about it before we tried it. I hadn't done enough research, and today I used my time to kind of figure out a plan, and Joel and I talked about it. We're on the same page, and I hope that we can make it happen. So we will keep you guys informed and let you know how it goes.
What are you doing, Gracie?
We've been rocking out. Just Dad's been rocking out.
Yeah.
He sits down every once in a while to fill up his funnel with water and drain it on me.
We just finished bath and bedtime routine. I did one song with him from his bedtime playlist and then put him down. I gave him his lovey, and we actually put a different taggy blanket in there so that he can have something to hold on to and not necessarily play with, but something just to keep his little hands busy. He is crying right now. We set a timer for 3 minutes. So on the first night, you let them cry for 3 minutes. You can go in and comfort them, put them back down, let them cry for 5. Do the same thing, then 10 minutes. Do the same thing, then 15 minutes. We are at the first mark and he's definitely crying. Joel set a 3-minute timer and now we wait. I'm going to try to distract myself. We have a video monitor, so I don't feel anxious about having him cry. I can see and make sure he's okay, but it does not feel good to let him sit there and cry. Okay, so the first 3 minutes went super fast. We are now on the 5-minute wait time, and he's actually a little bit calmer than I expected. He's on his knees, he's not standing up, he was just sitting down. He is definitely still crying now, so. Okay, it has been 5 minutes. I went back in, I gave him his pacifier, and he is just laying there. He's not crying. We don't start a timer until he starts crying.
Don't tell me my business.
I know, it's hard, but I feel like he's gonna go to sleep. Look at him. I totally feel like he's gonna go to sleep.
Come on, buddy.
I feel like he might already be asleep. What time did we actually put him down, do you know?
I mean, 15 minutes ago, pretty much.
Yeah, because we did
Barely.
3 minute and then a 5 minute. I feel like it was like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's what I just said. 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
I cannot believe that he's asleep right now. But we'll see how long he stays asleep. And if he sleeps through the night, I have class tonight, so it's gonna be on Joel if he does wake up to continue the 3 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute. Alright guys, so it is 10:37. The baby is still asleep. He has tossed around like just a little bit, but he has not actually woken up. He went down so easy that I'm just not sure if he was that tired today or if, even though we were doing it wrong the last 2 days, if it helped him like kind of realize what was going on tonight. So when I say that we were doing it wrong, so the past 2 nights we were attempting what we thought was this method, and I didn't do enough research, and I just looked up some basic information, and there is a ton of information and different methods, and everyone has like a little bit of a variation of how they do this. So for the first night that we attempted something, I went in every 10 minutes. So I didn't do 3 and then 5 and then 10. I just went in every 10 minutes, and that did not work for him. When I went in, I was picking him up and soothing him until he stopped crying and then putting him back down. And truth be told, I didn't really wait 10 minutes because I couldn't do it. And basically the same thing happened last night, that I was attempting to wait 10 minutes, but I wasn't really making it the 10 minutes, and then I would go in and hold him and comfort him and then try to put him back down. And I was only able to do that like twice each night, and then I ended up holding him until he fell asleep, which wasn't very long. It was just that he had cried himself to being exhausted and fell asleep in my arms when I picked him up. So we weren't really doing this method before. So tonight I put him down, I soothed him a little, I made sure he had his lovey, and walked out of the room. And I did the same thing when I went in after the 3 minutes and the 5 minutes, and I didn't have to go in after 10 minutes. So When I soothed him, I didn't pick him up. I just gave him his pacifier. I laid him back down. I made sure he had his lovey. I told him I loved him, and I left the room. So it's different for sure tonight. And I think not picking him up worked a lot better for him. All right, guys, so I am between classes. It is 12:30, and Bennett just woke up for the first time. I talked to Joel before he went in there to bed. He just went to bed like maybe 5 minutes ago. So I told him what to do. It's really hard for both of us to just let the baby cry. And I know, I mean, I feel like that goes without saying, most people. It's hard to let your baby cry, but even the dog is like, what is going on? Because we typically don't let him cry for more than like a few seconds, which is like probably why we need to do this in the first place, because we just haven't been doing the right thing. So my next class starts in 20 minutes, so I'll be able to help him out through at least part of this. So, oh my gosh, this is so hard. Here comes Phil now. How long has it been? Okay, we're gonna go. Checked after 3 minutes, still crying. After 5 minutes, I went back in and checked again, and then I just put him back down. He is still crying, but he's sitting and doing more of like a whimper. He actually looks like he's leaned up against the side of the crib. This is very hard. I hope it works, because if it doesn't, this is like some serious mental anguish that could have been avoided. I still have 2 more classes. I have about 15 minutes until my next one, and we're on the 10-minute check. So hopefully he just goes back down. He's just sitting there right now. He doesn't even sound like he's crying. I can't hear him crying. He's definitely making some noise, but he's not like crying. Literally just sitting there. Before Joel went to sleep, we were discussing whether or not I should feed him, because he still eats usually around 3:30 or so. All right, guys, I will probably check in with you after my classes before I go to bed and let you know what happened while I was in there. I'll be teaching for about an hour. Hopefully this little bug lays back down and goes to sleep. I will let you know. Okay, so I just finished my classes. It is, what time is it, babe? It is 2 a.m. The baby has been awake since before my classes. I want to say he's been awake for almost 2 hours. Is that right? I think he woke up around 12:30. We have been trying really hard to stick to this method, but this is a little bit hard because he's also teething. What do you mean you don't like the noise he was making?
I couldn't tell if he had hiccups or what.
He's probably just doing that from crying. He's okay though. I'll be in just a second and I'll double check. I kind of forget what I was saying. He scared me a little bit when he came back out. Just another quick rundown. So he woke up at 12:30. We did the 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I went in right before my class started and he had pooped. So I gave him to Joel. Joel changed his diaper, got him back in his crib, and he's been awake since then. Even when I got out of my class, he was still crying. And then he just kind of fell over and fell asleep. If he wakes up again in the next couple of hours, I'm going to feed him and try to put him back down. Hopefully get some sleep. So I'll see you guys in the morning. Okay, good morning. It is 10 o'clock. I got up about an hour ago. Benny woke up about an hour before that. He did pretty good last night. We had that one stretch that was pretty rough with the 2 hours. That did not go so well, but other than that, he did pretty good. After he fell asleep at 2, he slept until 6:30. Then I nursed him and he went back to sleep until about 8. I was trying to figure out last night how to record everything. I was going to make a chart, but I decided to just go back to the app that I was using when he was a newborn. It's called Huckleberry. They recommend 11:10 for the nap time, so that's pretty close to what we were gonna do anyway. Okay, so the app says that he got 9 hours and 17 minutes of sleep last night. So it's about 10 o'clock right now. He's eating and then he'll have his nap around 11 or 11:30. Just put Benny down for his first nap. Normally we don't have a nap time routine like we do a bedtime routine, and for the last probably at least a few weeks or so, he has just been falling asleep like in our lap. We'll put on a movie or something and just like bounce him until he falls asleep for his nap. I thought since we are doing the sleep training that we should do some kind of a little routine to let him know that it is nap time. So today we just cleaned up his toys while we sang a song. We read a couple books while I rocked him, and then I put him in his crib and he seems to have just fallen asleep. Hopefully he can get a good nap in and I can take a shower and get myself ready for the day. Okay guys, so it is a little after 1. Bennett woke up at 12:30, so he napped for I think an hour and 15 minutes. I was able to shower but not do much else. I wanted to show you what the Huckleberry app looks like that I'm using to keep track of his progress through this whole thing.
From the home page, you can click on sleep and just start a sleep timer. You can also edit that later if you forget. You can click on feeding and it will give you the option for breastfeeding, bottle feeding, and solids. This was super helpful for me when Bennett was a newborn because we had a lot of trouble with breastfeeding him, so it was nice for me to be able to track it and remember what he had throughout the day. The app also has a place to track diapers, as well as pumping, medicine, growth, and temperature for whatever you need. We are mostly going to be using it for sleep. So you can see that I recorded what he slept last night. There are different ways you can see it. There's a calendar, there's a list, and you can do a summary, although I don't have much logged at this point. The app has some other cool features like personalized information about your baby, things that they suggest, and articles for you to read depending on how old your child is.
So I just put Bennett down for his second nap. It is 3:15. So far so good. He is just laying there. He's got his lovey and I am hoping for the best, but he seemed pretty awake when I put him down. We were out here playing and then he started getting a little bit wild and a little bit cranky. So we started singing the cleanup song. We got everything kind of tidied up. We read 2 books and then we walked around and turned out all the lights in the apartment. Then I went into his room. I turned on his sounds, which is just, we just use our Alexa. Okay, so he just started crying. So I'm gonna set a 3-minute timer. All right, the baby is asleep. It took about 20 minutes, but he wasn't crying at all. So I didn't go in. He started to cry just like for a second at the end, and then he laid himself down and closed his eyes and is now sleeping. So he just sat there and played for like 20 minutes and now he's asleep. It was pretty encouraging. So hopefully this is actually working and tonight goes better than last night. Today has gone pretty well. He's a little bit behind schedule because his second nap was 1 hour and 45 minutes, but also it took him about 20 minutes to fall asleep. So altogether he was in there for about 2 hours and 5 minutes. We are about to make him some dinner and start the bedtime routine after that.
Hey, Monster.
What?
Why's your hair all messed up?
Okay, it is 8:50. This is our second night. We did our regular routine, so dinner, play, bath, jammies, book, and a bottle. I rocked him for just a few minutes. We turned out the lights and I turned on his ocean sounds through Alexa and laid him down, and he is not crying. He is not asleep. He is playing with his lovey and rolling around a little bit, but he actually looks like he might just go to sleep. You guys, if this works this quickly, I don't even know what to do with myself. I had 2 very successful naps today also. This is great. It is 1:30 in the morning. The baby is still asleep. Usually within like this 2-hour span, he'll wake up anywhere from the time Joel goes to bed until I go to bed. Really, it seems like he's not super consistent with that, other than typically he'll wake up when one of us comes into the room. So we are both gonna go to bed here shortly and we'll see if he wakes up or not. Okay guys, so little update. Benny did so awesome last night. He slept through the night 10 hours and 40 minutes without waking up. We are currently on his first nap of the day and it is not going so well. He fell asleep really easily, but he only slept for like 20 minutes. So now I'm trying to decide if I go get him up or if I let him cry for a little bit. I did just go and check on him and he's really upset. So it's been 10 minutes. I'm gonna wait another 10 because this is day 3. The first interval that you wait is 10 minutes. So I did the first 10 minutes. The second interval is supposed to be 15 minutes, but if I wait that long, then the time that he should have been asleep is over anyway. I can tell he's still tired, but he can just take his second nap a little earlier if we need to. I can say that I think it's working because last night he fell asleep. He didn't even stand up one time. Today, his nap, he did go down super easily and he woke up because I had to go in the room to get something. So I'm hoping that in the new house, if we do put him in his own room, that we can avoid the wake ups, because it does seem like whenever he wakes up, it's because we're walking into the room. Almost every night when he wakes up is when Joel goes to bed or when I go to bed. Typically I wouldn't walk into the room during nap time, but I hadn't gotten dressed for the day yet. So I went in to get clothes and he woke up. So I don't know, hopefully him being in his own space will be a little bit better for his sleep schedule. So he's got about 5 minutes left, but I think I might just go grab him. It doesn't seem like he's gonna go back to sleep. I just stopped recording, went over to grab my phone, and he's totally asleep. So I'm really glad that I waited and I didn't just get him out like I was going to. I know that lots of people use this method and maybe my mind shouldn't be blown. But I feel like if things like this exist, like what else is this simple that I'm not doing, you know? Like, I'm just so curious what other kind of parenting things exist that I don't know about. Now, when I say simple, I don't mean easy. It hasn't been easy because listening to him cry and seeing him upset is terrible, but it's not some huge complicated process. It's a very simple idea. Okay, so we just put Bennett down for his second nap of the day. He didn't cry for a solid 5 minutes, but it took him 5 minutes to fall asleep. So he cried a little bit here and there. He cried when I first walked out of the room, and then he sat up and kind of played with his blankie for a minute and then laid down in a super awkward position and fell asleep. So it only took him 5 minutes this time, and hopefully he can stay asleep. We're gonna try not to walk into the room unless absolutely necessary, which is what seems to be waking him up. So we'll see how long he sleeps. His second nap all week has been the longer of the 2 naps, but he slept for an hour and a half earlier. So Benny is awake. He took a really good nap, just about as long as yesterday, and he woke up and just started playing in there, which is awesome. He seems like he's got it down. It was so fast for him. I'm not sure if we'll film tonight or not, but we'll try to keep you guys updated on the process. If anything changes, if we have any challenges, we will record it, but otherwise, I think we've done it. So I hope you guys learned something from this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any updates. Can you say bye-bye? Good job. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.